When it comes to giving and receiving touch, I think most of us have probably wished at some point that it could always be totally and amazingly in sync with the other person. So, like a perfect flow where it's not just about one of you having a good time, it's about the most pleasure possible for both of you all at once. And it's true, when that does happen, it can feel completely amazing. But the reality is that it's usually more a question of if it happens than when it happens. And so, like most things to do with touch, it does actually take a bit of practice. And when you practice something, it's generally helpful to start by breaking things down into their component parts in order to get the hang of them. And so, this is why when people say to me that they want to get better at giving and receiving touch, I generally tell them that the best way to do that is to start by taking giving and receiving apart and by practicing each of them separately first. And so I want to talk here a bit about why I think that is a super helpful approach. So, have you noticed that often when you're receiving touch from somebody, there's a temptation to want to reach out and touch them back? And why does it seem so hard to just enjoy being touched by somebody else without touching them in return? Well, there's a few reasons. It taps into fears about being seen as selfish if you don't reciprocate, or feeling like maybe you're not worthy of receiving something that's just for you, or even feeling uncomfortable just having all of the attention on you. The trouble is, when somebody's touching you and you start touching them straight back again, that can end up being a distraction from really being able to savor the experience of the gift of their touch. And so, what do I mean by the gift of their touch? Well, there's a couple of ways that the gift of touch can happen during giving and receiving touch. So, one way is perhaps that the gift is one that they're giving you, touching you in a way that creates exquisitely pleasurable sensation in your skin or in your body. So if you imagine the most amazing massage that you've ever had, if you can remember one, and then think if you'd been touching your masser at the same time, it probably would have been distracting you from really being able to sink fully into that pleasure of the gift that they were giving you with their touch. And so the next time that you're maybe in a more personal situation and receiving touch that's for your pleasure, instead of touching the other person back at the same time, try seeing if you can find a way to really feel that gift. So to feel that you deserve it, to feel that you're worthy of it, without having to do anything in return to earn it. And remember, you can always touch them later if you want to. And then there are other times where actually you're the one who's giving the other person a gift and giving the gift of access to your body so that they can touch and feel you the way they want to. Because that's an amazing gift too. But again, if you're touching them at the same time, it's going to be distracting both of you from being able to be fully present with that gift. And so in this case, my invitation would be, how can you find a way to really feel that you are enough of a gift in and of yourself without having to do anything in return? And trust me, when you can really surrender into that place of just being enough of a gift in and of yourself without having to do anything, it's a really incredible feeling. And another reason to practice just touching one way at a time is that when there's too much touch happening at once, it can be hard for your brain to know what to focus on. And when there's too much stimulation, it's really easy to end up either not really feeling any of it properly or just ending up in your head trying to overthink things. And none of that is really a recipe for experiencing more pleasure. So if you do want to get to a point where giving and receiving touch is about being able to ride that flow of mutual touch and pleasure more easily between you, then I do really recommend that you try by practicing just touching one way at a time to begin with, so that you can really start to feel the gift of touch much more deeply, whichever way it's going. And so touching one way at a time is going to help you get clear about who's touching who and why. So it'll help you get clear about, are you touching them because that's how they like to be touched? Or are you touching them because you want to get your hands on that part of their body because it looks or feels so good? Because there's a difference in those two experiences, and you'll feel it in your hands and they'll definitely feel it in their body. And trust me, you'll be able to tell the difference a lot more easily if they're not also touching you at the same time. Check out my website for more information about this, and also to find out how you can practice this with me. So I offer coaching for individuals and for couples. And like and subscribe below to stay up to date with all my latest tips and resources.